Hi everyone, Fran Fenworthy here, Tuesday takeaway. Second attempt because the first one really was sideways. So today I want to look at the worst foods for joint pain. Now this is something that I do know something about personally because, I have had severe joint arthritis in my hip for way over 20 years. And the pain used to be absolutely debilitating. And I was told 20 years ago, see you for a hip replacement. But the wonderful thing is that since then, I've trained to be a nutritionist. I've learned about the power of food and how incredibly useful food is, the chemicals in food, for actually making your pain worse or reducing your pain. And so since that time, I've actually discovered the foods that I need to take out of my diet that makes my pain less. And I saw a significant difference when I did that. So I'm going to look at the 5 worst ones and tell you how you can experiment with that so that you can see for yourself whether it's making things worse for you. So the first one is dairy, and this was the one that I found when I cut it out of my diet. Overnight, the pain that used to actually get me stuck in position and I couldn't move actually just went. I've still got the stiffness in my joint because it is bone on bone, but I just don't get that awful pain that I used to get. And it was when I cut out dairy, and this is true for a lot of people. Some people find that they get on okay with raw milk, but not with the pasteurised milk, and of course it depends what the cows are fed with, all of that impacts on the quality of the milk. I've found since that now that I'm managing that pain, I've found since that I can add in, certain dairy products like butter and yogurt and I'm fine, but I do find that milk still causes me a problem. Quite a few summers ago, everybody around me was having one of those lovely whippy ice creams, and I just wanted to be the same. I wanted to join in, and I thought, I haven't had one for years. I really want one. So I had one, and I paid for it big time because for the next 3 days I could hardly move. I was in so much pain. And it was a really, really good reminder to me that, actually, food is powerful, for good or bad. And so now I don't want a whippy ice cream. I don't want that pain back. So it's not it's not a hardship to me not to have that, because I just want to stay pain-free. So it's worth you trying and seeing whether that would make a difference for you. If you're worried about calcium, whether you'd be getting enough calcium if you cut out dairy, then there is calcium in lots of other foods, such as the dark green leaves, nuts and seeds, and also tinned fish where you eat the bones as well, like tinned salmon. That's a great source of calcium. The second food is gluten, particularly wheat, because the wheat that we eat now is not traditional wheat that God put on this earth. Traditional wheat is 9 feet tall. Modern wheat is 3 feet tall. It's been so modified and changed that it's actually quite different. And one of the differences is that the gluten levels in modern wheat is much higher than in traditional wheat. So gluten becomes even more of a problem than it was before. So for a lot of people, cutting wheat out of your diary or out of your diary, out of your diet, or gluten, it's worth experimenting with that and just watching your symptoms and seeing if it makes a difference. Now, the next one, number 3, is red meat. Now, I'm a lover of red meat, but again, it's in moderation. And it depends what kind of red meat. If you are eating an animal that has been grass-fed, then it has a different chemical structure than meat that has been fed, say, cereals and other things. And particularly the fat content will be different in grass-fed meat. It'll be higher in omega-3, and omega-3 is very anti-inflammatory. If it's an animal that's not been purely grass-fed, then it's going to be higher levels of omega-6. Now, if you eat too much omega-6, that is pro-inflammation and will make the pain of inflammation worse. So eating grass-fed meat in moderation could well make a difference to your pain levels, and it's worth trying that out and seeing. What are we on to? Number 4 is the nightshade family. This is things like tomatoes, potatoes, peppers and aubergines. Now, for a lot of people, those foods are absolutely fine, no problem at all. But particularly if you've got things like rheumatoid arthritis, they can be particularly problematic. Things like the peppers and the aubergines, not so much of an issue for people with osteoarthritis, which is what I've got. But again, it's worth just experimenting with that, replacing those foods for a couple of weeks with other lovely vegetables, monitoring your symptoms and seeing if it makes a difference. It's all trial and error. You try things out and see what impact it has. And you will know in a week or two. I mean, I literally knew, I don't know, within a couple of days that it was going to make a big difference to me with the dairy. So it's worth just, experimenting, trying it out, and keep a record of what you're doing so that you can really work out the connections. The final one is sugar. Now, do you know, the middle of last century, the average person had 2 pounds of sugar in a year. And I hope you find this shocking. I'm always shocked at this, but nowadays, the average person can have 150 pounds of sugar in a year. So that's from 2 pounds to 150 pounds of sugar. Can you imagine what impact that is having on all of your body systems? They were never built to withstand that kind of onslaught. 150 pounds of sugar a year looks like 22 teaspoons of sugar a day. And that is really easy to achieve if you are eating processed food, packaged food, tin food. It's in your sandwiches, in your soups, and if you're drinking the coffee shop drinks, or the fizzy drinks that are just packed with sugar. I mean, 2 drinks would actually give you that a day, so it's really easy to achieve that. Now, sugar's very irritating for your joints, but also it will just absolutely disrupt your insulin levels, your blood sugar levels, and that will increase the inflammation, which in turn can make your pain worse. So cutting down on sugar, if you're eating anything like those kind of amounts, that's the place to start. And if you start to cook from scratch, start to do your own cooking, so it's not all pre-packed and pre-packaged, then you can start to use better forms of sugar, which would be like stevia. Make sure it's pure stevia, nothing else in the ingredients box, or xylitol, or raw honey, not the processed honey, but raw honey. Pure maple syrup, molasses sugar, which is unrefined sugar. It's still got all its nutrients, it's got its vitamins and minerals, all the things that are going to help your body to process the sugar. So if you're eating those things in moderation, then see what difference that makes to your pain levels. But I think as well, you'll find it has lots of knock-on great effects in other areas as well, like energy and, clear thinking and all sorts of other wonderful things. So I hope that has been helpful to you, informative to you today. If it has, please do click the like and the love button, because that really encourages me and lets me know that it's helpful to you. Feel free to share this video as well to anybody that you know that could do with this information, and let me know what foods have made a difference to your pain levels and what you're planning to experiment with to see if it makes a difference for you. That's it for this week. I'll see you again next week. Take care for now, and bye.